Hi everybody, welcome to my kitchen today. And today is a really important day because I am here to proclaim to you that I think our country needs a national cookie. So that cookie is going to be, in my opinion, the humble tea cake. Not only is it packed with goodness, but it is packed with history. So stay tuned. The recipe's coming right up and you don't want to miss it. Okay, here we go. Now for this recipe, you need just simple ingredients. You've got them all in your kitchen, I'm sure. We need a half a cup of butter. We need 1 cup of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, an egg, and 2 cups of flour. So we're going to start with our butter. We have that softened. I already have it in the bowl here. I'm going to add the cup of sugar, and we're going to mix this until it's mixed pretty good. So probably a minute or so. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and add the egg. Mix that up really good. Throw in our vanilla. And we've got a good dough going here. I'm gonna try to show it to you before I make a mess. Can you see? Okay, that's about what it needs to look like. Now, get ready for the slurry because I tried this yesterday and I had flour going everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the flour and we'll mix it up and then I'll show you the next step. I'm going to add a little bit more flour. The mixer's getting a little tired, as you can tell. So we'll see how far we get here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Go ahead and preheat my oven to 350. We're going to take our dough. Let me show you what it looks like. It's pretty held together pretty good. What we want to do is form this into a ball. And I think I can do it right here in the bowl so we don't have another dish to wash. Those things get important, you know, when you get older. You don't want a lot of extra work. And we like quick stuff. I want it to be quick. Because my back, I can't stand up that long in the kitchen. Okay, I'm gonna show you the dough. Let me wipe my hands. Got my handy little trick here. I love this thing. Can't remember where I got it from, but it holds my saran wrap. Did you ever buy that saran? Anytime it's plastic wrap and it gets stuck. I think before I bought this little trick, I threw that last roll away. Just roll it out like this. You need quite a bit. Lay it down. Sit. And guess what? It'll be there next time you need some more saran wrap. It won't be sticky. Now here I can show you what the dough looks like. It's a little on the sticky side. You want to form it into a nice even as you can get it. Like this. You see? And put on our saran wrap. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna put it in the fridge for about, didn't take very long. I guess it depends on how cold your fridge is. Mine's pretty cold. So about 30 minutes, and I'll be right back. And we'll roll these out, and I'll show you how to bake them. Okay, we're back. While the dough was chilling, I went out and picked some flowers. Aren't they pretty? They're so hot, they're getting a little wilted. I'll get them in some water right quick. And we'll have a bouquet for our national holiday that we've got coming up. Got one little sunflower there. Their leaves wilt really easily. So maybe she'll perk back up when she gets a little water. Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna get our dough out of the refrigerator. It is nice and chilled. And we're gonna start this process. And then we'll get into our history lesson. We have a history lesson, so I can tell you why these little cookies are so important. Your dough is going to be really hard if you leave it in there for a long period of time. I think I left mine in there about, let's see, about 30 or 45 minutes. So, it starts to crack like that. Just ball it up and get it going again. I floured my surface here a little bit, so I think that's gonna help. Okay, let's see what we got. Now, depending on how thick a cookie you want, will depend on how thin you roll these out. I think they bake better, and they're a better cookie if they're a little thick. So, I'm gonna roll these kind of thick. You see that? There's cracks in the dough, but as you roll it, those cracks are going to come out. And that looks to be about right. I want kind of a thick cookie. Now, I've got my cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these out. You can use a biscuit cutter or whatever you have. See that cookie? It's about like that. And I would not put too many on the cookie sheet. Yesterday when I was baking my trial run, just to make sure that these cookies were going to be perfect for this video, I put them too close together and they kind of ran together. So instead of doing that, the next batch I did, I elected to put them further apart because I don't want them to run together. I want you want a perfect little cookie or a big cookie. Now I think these are going to bake up kind of big. So I've got 6 here on the baking sheet. See how far apart I put them? And that's how I would suggest doing that. If you don't mind them running together, you can, I baked 12 yesterday at one time, but don't do that. So we're gonna put them in our oven it's already preheated at 350. Now we're gonna bake them for 7 minutes. I've got my timer ready to go. And yesterday I baked them for 10 minutes because that's what my recipe said, and that was way too long because this morning I went to grab one for a cup with my coffee and they were hard as a brick. Another recipe I looked at was it said 7 minutes, and then there was another recipe I looked at and it said 5 to 6 minutes. So I guess depending on your oven, kind of check them because it doesn't take them long to cook. You can take what you have left and repeat this process again and cut the rest out. I'm going to go ahead and cut these. We'll see how many we have. We got 4 more here. The dough is gorgeous. Really is pretty. That's 4 more. I can probably get. The thing about this dough is, and what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to wrap this back up. That's all I want to bake today. I'm going to save this. And who knows, I might have company tomorrow. And they might want a national American cookie. So if they do, then I'll have that for them and I can bake them up fresh. Okay, so you waited too long. So we're going to do our history class right quick. Let me move this over here. You can see what I'm doing. Let me get my notes. I'll have to read this because there's no way I could remember all this. But the reason these cookies are so important is because they were first baked officially in North Carolina, town being Edenton, North Carolina, which is down towards the coast. And that was in the year 1774. Now I'm going to read this to you, and then I'll give you some back history on it. Okay, it says on October 25th, 1774, Penelope Barker, remember her name, she's very important, invited 51 women from 5 counties in eastern North Carolina to come to the Edenton home of Elizabeth King for a party. There would be tea cakes, but no tea, because the ladies were protesting the British Tea Act of 1773. As a matter of fact, they signed a petition to say, in proof of our patriotism, they would not bring British tea or cloth into their homes until such a time that all acts which tend to enslave our native country shall be repealed. It was a silent protest and served, and this is important, and served as the first recorded organized political event for women. How about that? That was in 1774. It took us to 1920 to get the vote. So my hat's off to these women and Miss Penelope Barker, who organized the whole event. But actually, that was not the original place where the tea cake came from. According to our internet, tea cakes actually originated in medieval England, and they were known there as seed cakes, and they were often flavored with caraway seeds, and they were served with tea to aid in digestion. Now, they didn't arrive in America until the European colonists came over and they brought tea cakes here. And they adapted those tea cakes to the local ingredients that they had available and to the taste of their folks around. Now, in the American South, tea cakes became a staple dessert, often served at social gatherings, holidays, and family events. They became known by some as Quaker jumbles. And the early recipes, they were nicknamed Jackson jumbles and Democratic tea cakes, evolving into soft, pillowy cookies with flavors such as vanilla, lemon, and nutmeg. Which brings out a point. Yesterday I put some lemon peel in the ones that I cooked, and they were delicious. And I tried a little lemon frosting on top, but that was too much. But I didn't use the vanilla yesterday. I used the lemon peel, and it gave a real faint lemony taste, and it was really good. Now, let's see what else it says. Okay, they hold a significant place, and this is important, in African American culinary history. Enslaved African Americans created their own versions of tea cakes, and using what ingredients they had available to them and to their families, they made these tea cakes, and sometimes they used molasses instead of sugar. And that makes sense, because molasses used to be a big sweetener. People used that with honey. Now it says these recipes were passed down through generations, becoming a symbol of cultural resilience and heritage. So notably, tea cakes were sometimes associated with historical events. That's why the Edenton Tea Party. Okay, I think my buzzer just went off. Let me check. Let's see what we got here. No, they're not ready. We'll give them just a few more minutes, and then I'll tell you how long it was. Let's see. It says I'm gonna put on 2 more minutes. Okay, and that would be 7, 8, 9, I don't know. I may take them out of that. Okay, today they remain a Southern soul food staple And it says here that they would make them for their slave holders. And there is a gentleman I found in Louisiana that has been making these tea cakes, or tea cakes for decades. And I found that recipe, which is much more detailed than what the ones that we made today. And this is called Black Folks Southern Tea Cake Recipe. And it's put out by Chandra Nicole, if I have pronounced her name correctly. She's at the Soul Food Pot. So if I'll list that below if any of you are interested in reading up a little bit more about these tea cakes and the history of the tea cakes and the importance to our heritage and the reason they should be our national cookie. What better evidence do we have here? Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna let those cook just a little bit longer. I'll bring them out and let you know how long they cooked. That way you can, it'll kind of give you an idea, okay? So according to this, I've got about 1 more minute. So I'll be right back. Okay, our cookies have cooled. They're out of the oven. I'm gonna take, let me turn you around. I got you too far away. So you can see. When I told you they might expand, these are a big cookie. See, they are really cool. So let's see. Let me show you. Can you see that? I'll hold one up. You have got a nice brown bottom, pretty top. They're good. We're gonna put them out here so they can cool off. And I gotta show you something that's so funny. Let me get these off. I want to show you, I used my mother's original recipe. And I got to show you where I found it at. I found it in this shoebox, which is full of recipes. And I hate to tell you, but I got several more like that. But this is the recipe, written on an index card. And it's old. She said 10 minutes. So that's what I baked them at. So anyway, we're gonna put this national cookie on a proper plate. You can see. Okay, now we're gonna take a bite. I hope it's not as hard as the one I ate this morning. It's good. But it's so good. Well, a simple cookie. Very good. I'll list the recipe below. They taste a little bit like a sugar cookie, but they're not a sugar cookie. They are a tea cake, which is our national cookie until Congress decides to deem it so. Anyway, with that said, I've rattled on enough. Hope you try these cookies. I will list the recipe below. Let me know if you like it. My name is BJ. I'm the Reluctant Retiree. And here at the Reluctant Retiree, we do all we can for as many as we can, for as long as we can. So, bake you up a couple of these cookies or a whole batch of these cookies and take some to your neighbor, to your grandchild, or eat them yourself. Okay? So with that said, if I was a little bit younger, I would take my pots and pans and spatulas and I would go protest in Washington for this to be our national cookie. But those days are gone. So you guys carry on. Bake the cookies, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.